Recording in progress.
All right, we're going to do this in an interesting way. I have two cameras going here. One is for the Patreon and one is for the YouTube channel. And that is so I can give you the drop early for the YouTube subscribers and then the regular posting for everyone else as it comes out on the YouTube channel. We are a couple of things I want to say this week. If you like what I do and you would like to book a reading with me, I just lowered my prices for the rest of 2025 so that everyone gets an opportunity to sort of check me out. Included a little 30-minute reading in there if you wanted to get a question, like a Q&A type of session. And I put those all on starandstonellc.com under guidance. There's little tabs on the top, and in there it says guidance, and that's where all of my readings are. The flyer for that is also on my Instagram and Facebook pages for you to check it out. We're going to be moving away from Star and Stone. I'm saying goodbye to that LLC company. I've had it since 22. And the original, sort of the original idea and the original partners and everything that were going to happen with it, didn't really pan out. It was a pandemic idea. It was a great idea. And we're moving everything back to my original URL, which is the Sacred Other. This is the one I've had for decades. And I've always sort of retained the site name for it and pointed it at Star and Stone. And so over the next 3 months, I'm going to transfer everything back towards that site and release Star and Stone back into the aethers with gratitude and thanks. It was a good run. I'm totally happy with the decision. It is a lot of work to run an LLC. Don't let any of those little advertisements that you see on the web fool you into thinking it's an inexpensive and easy process. What am I doing today? I am pulling the card for Libra season. I have already done that. I'm using the lovely Star Tarot. This deck has served me really wonderfully. Looking at just sort of what's the energy there for Libra for us for that month. And I actually did not pull a big card. I've pulled some major arcana cards for months. And we see why in certain ways, because major arcana cards represent big movements, big karmas, however you want to describe that. Usually when I say karma, I also like to say, and that's probably not what you think it is, because I ascribe to more actual concept of karma than some modern retributive or, you get what you serve kind of mentality around it. But I digress. The card I pulled was the Six of Wands. And I just want to say that this has a fullness to us. This is generally a good card. I really like it. I mean, the positivity on this one is in the description and in the image itself, right, are really great and uplifting. The energy, I want to talk around that, and I will get to that in detail in a moment, because I have a few things that I also wrote for us to take a look at. Really is there's two reminders I want to say as we move into Libra season. So we're talking about balance, right? And this is not an overused term. This is the scales. This is Libra. So it's asking us, what is the balance that we need in our life? How is this really serving us, right? Because when we start to think about balance and how it's serving us, we might think of words like justice, but not to conflate that with like law, justice, but just sort of like the balance, the equilibrium, the movement, the things that you need in your own life that keep you in a healthy and hopefully happy place, and in your own body and in the world around you, right? I'd like to think, and I'm not saying this is everybody, nor am I pushing this concept on anyone, but I like to think that we've come a long way, right? Spiritually speaking, like with what's available to us. We have the capacity to retrieve any information at this point, known to man on the internet. Is it all correct information? No. But we can learn to sift through that to get to what we need, and we have the capacity for the most part. Some people don't understand that, to really delve into and develop practices for ourselves which um, um, advance us, evolve us, and grow us. Evolution is an interesting one because people think like, well, what am I not good enough? And like, why do I have to be better? Well, I mean, I would start with that attitude because that's really what we're talking about in evolution is if it pokes you, right, and your hackles raise or you're about the whole thing, that's where the work is at, right? When we talk about doing magic, right? We're not just talking about bibbity bobbity boo and waving wands. We're also talking about self-development because it's within you and about you, and it's about the interface of the inner and the outer. Spiritual growth is understanding how the inner works, and that's you, and your parts to that, and how you work with it, and how that interfaces with the outer, how that is both a reflection and has nothing to do with you at the same time, right? There's both a consciousness experience that's happening right there. And then learning to develop relationships with all of these spirits around us. And I mean people, and I mean our food, and I mean our clothing and where we get it from, as much as I mean the spirit of place, the ancestors, angels or whatever it is that you're working with, because it's all spirits. As we grow spiritually, as we evolve spiritually, our, what do we say here? Our, responsibility might be a good word. Our responsibility is not just to ourselves anymore. If we continue to evolve and it's still just about ourselves, it's not really evolution, right? Because life is more about yourself because life is about relationships. The kind of relationships that you have, the way that you culture, nurture them, or abuse or abandon them, right? It's about all of those sorts of things. So looking at those in Libra, looking at those in Libra, looking at relationships in Libra, because Libra has that love energy to it as well. So starting to see what is the balance, that equilibrium, the moving dynamic balance between yourself in the inner world and the outer world. What is your intention? What is the result of the intention? How does it live in the world 3 ripples away, right? Like what's the third effect of whatever your intention is? As you evolve, your consciousness, and what do I mean by that? Again, it's not like a being better because you're not good enough. It's a being better because we can all be better at what we're doing because we're here to be in relationships, and so therefore we're here to learn. As we evolve, right, we understand greater capacity, greater responsibility to those relationships, and how we affect the world around us, as much as the way in which the world may affect us and what we can do about that, because it's not happening to you for the most part, although this may be happening to some people. And if that's terrible, I hope you can get out of it very quickly. But it's about the way that you shape it. And one of the core tenets that I like, and tenets I use that loosely, in witchcraft is that this is not just happening to me, is that I make conscious choices to change what is happening to me within myself, about how I respond to it, and within the world by changing chance and opportunity to pull the threads of fates in my favor, right? Like this is a little bit of an evolution of witchcraft here. Like we're about getting stuff and making stuff happen. Yes, manifesting, but it's more than just that. It's more than just intention and manifesting. It's understanding that those have wider effects and who we are in those wider effects. So I just want to place that on the board as we talk about Libra and relationships, that these are important. So we look at the 6 of Wands. This has that valor energy. This has the energy of, I put it in front of my face like this because it doesn't really focus. My Zoom camera doesn't really focus on this. This is sort of like that crown of flowers. This is that welcome home victory, walk in after well done sort of thing. The energy as I tapped into it for Libra. So what do I mean when I say that? When I tap into it, I'm tapping into my guidance source, which is a collective. And that is not just my highest self and my deepest self and all the parts of me, my experience, but also my guides and allies in the spirit realm who I work with to sort of get my information from. And you may subscribe to that or not. It's entirely up to you. You may call them figments of my imagination. Good. We can all call them whatever we like. It doesn't affect me, right? It should not. What matters is if those connections serve and expand my consciousness and my life, bring me joy and make things better, right? So, what I really got from that was lightness. I got lightness. Before I even pulled a card, the energy I got was lightness. I saw stars falling on myself. So then I pull the card, and you can see there, I'm going to hold it up to the other camera. You can see the stars above, they're sort of tapping that energy, right? That energy was raining down on me. And I thought, that feels good, right? That feels good. So then I moved into what does this mean? How do I feel with it? And I was like, I want to stretch my body, right? So then I started to see what's the message here, what's the feeling, or what's the thing that I'd like to give to you for Libra season. And again, I still have something to talk about that I wrote, but I want to say this: be present, pay attention to your body. Last week in the 7-day service, I said go out into nature and just really connect to a tree or connect to the grass or to connect to something, because that's very important. This helps to ground us. But connect to your body in a way that's gentle, that's restorative, that helps you feel at home in you. This is a general statement. This may look different for everybody. For me, so translate this for yourself. For me, it's stretching, right? For me, it's yoga. So that's getting at least 10 minutes in the morning in which I am stretching my legs and my arms and my head and my neck and moving things around and getting circulation flowing. There's lots of great videos on there on YouTube. There's lots of great creators who sort of do these things. My friend Heather has a large YouTube database of videos and things that you can find. I can put her link in the notes to that YouTube channel. You might be able to see those there. I'll verify that that's actually true, that they're still there, so that you can look at them. But I'm just saying, there's ways in which we don't have to go somewhere to pay for these things. We can do it from our home, finding a private space to do that, doing it on the grass, stepping out, going to the park, doing it from a chair if we have mobility issues. Be imaginative. The energy is asking us to be less critical, to have a little bit more volume about embodied joy, presence in feeling good in ourselves and where we're at. Because the exterior of the world may not match that. And we may take the grand and wide events, the broad events that are happening, and internalize them. And in turn, that makes our personal worlds feel very small, feel very crushing, might be afraid. Certain things have happened which might bring fear for us. And all of those things can be remedied. It's not remedying the world. It's remedying the way you feel about it and how you're holding it and what you're doing with your energy. Are you focusing on that to the point where it is eroding, your happiness and taking up all of your focus and concentration and, causing tension in your body and all those sorts of things? Probably, I don't know, it did for me, right? So then that's the thing that we really want to look at here. So how do we fix that? How do we adjust this? I'm going to adjust my camera again. There we go. So I'm not looking up and down at both of you. Try to be, I would say yoga. You may have your own thing. Maybe you do like a Tai Chi or something, but whatever it is, to stretch, circulate, and move the blood in your body so that you're feeling a little bit more at home in yourself and you're feeling the warmth in your own body. This is grounding, right? Like connecting with nature, putting your feet in the grass. My therapist said, put your feet in the sand. That's also a good one if you're near a beach, but if you like the sand, right? But it's that walking and touching and moving. I'm gonna add to that from the previous message, which is then to stretch, to bring warmth and circulation to your physical body. If you're getting older like me, this is also extra important because mobility is an issue. I'm only 52, but if you want mobility at 70, you start now, right? You start before, right? Those sorts of things. So stretching, being embodied, and focusing more on the body can be very important. Being more mindful about what you eat, eating slower, right? Being more conscious about what it is that you're eating, asking, how does this make me feel in my body after I've eaten it? If you're tired and it's knocking you out, I don't know, maybe look at that. Talk to your doctor about that. Talk to your nutritionist about that. Talk to whoever your expert is about that. You know, eat foods that bring the healthy and necessary sense of embodiment to you for you. I don't know what your diet is, and I'm not a nutritionist. I can't really say what that is. But it is about mindfulness about what you eat. That would be very important in Libra. Um, I do feel there's a bit of shielding element that's happening in Libra, so I would work a little defensively on your protection shields, right? Or a little actively on your defensive shields, right? To sort of bolster up and gird up whatever sort of protections that you do in your personal fields specifically, right? So this is your personal energy field, your auric field. When I teach it when I teach the Temple of Witchcraft Mystery Tradition, the level 1, we do the protection shield. This is a layer that we sort of focus on in our auric field. I also included a version of that that I've used for a very long time. It used to be called the crystal bubble back in the 80s, but it's in my Reiki book, Reiki Spirit, as well. And I think I've included, if you're watching this on Patreon, there's lots of versions of that in the meditation praxis level. And I think in the market, there's also a protection video there. Anyways, I digress. The information is available there. Focus on stretching, focus on the body, increasing circulation, warmth, being at home in yourself, being mindful of what you eat, and working on protection. All great things to think about while Libra is in the sky with that valorous Six of Wands energy. Um, you know, where can you sort of soak in on what has been accomplished, what you are taking care of, what you are able to complete, even if it's unfinished, right? Like you got through the day, right? I'm not being sarcastic or saccharine. Like it's like, what can you allow yourself to feel about accomplishment in your life, and sort of focus on those things, because the external will make us feel, right? I'm not saying the world is a bad place. I'm saying that there's bad people in the world. The world will make us feel like those are small and insignificant. And when that happens, your focus, which is to focus on those things, right? Right. So Six of Wands for Libra. That is my card. It's the Six of Wands. The write-up that I was working on, and I'll include this as like a larger write-up in the posting itself on Patreon. So if you're watching this on YouTube later, you're not a subscriber, it's a free subscription to see the video and read it. So this is what came from me the other morning. I woke up at 5 a.m. and the words were just there, and so I started writing. But essentially, these are the components that I wanted to add to this about relationship, about balance, about being embodied, and about focusing on what really matters, right? Tapping into that joy. The mistake that we often make is that we think we did it all ourselves, and we did not make it alone. It's all part of a process. We're all connected to many things, even if we're ignoring them, right? And not working with our allies and spirits and our friends and family or coworkers or whoever it is. We don't do it alone, right? Maybe 1% of someone does something that's entirely their own, but even then, it's part of a process of things, right? Like, it's all connected. When we think this is kind of mentality. This cuts through our consciousness and says that it's all on you. The onus is all on you, and you pass or you fail. And because of that, you're either a success or a failure. And this is a very capitalistic thinking. This is a very weird way of thinking, and it sort of creates like a property line around your ego. It's like, this is my grass, stay off it, because I achieved it and you did not. So therefore I am special because of it and you're not. Like, it's a weird mentality that's there. This may come up, right? When we're talking about the dynamic balance of our energy and the outer world energy, this energy we may feel the boundary of that. So Saturn influence, right? Boundary is a Saturn influence. I might look at maybe where Saturn is in your chart. I might look what Saturn is happening with Saturn at the moment and how that's affecting you. Or I would just look at maybe old patterns and behaviors, of defensiveness that you may have inherited, that you may have adopted, or that you may have grown yourself over time, just because of culture and society, and how those are really serving you, right? Like the ego's property line, right? Like it's like, not in my backyard, the NIMBY kind of mentality, but as it is in your own um, personal energy and your own relationship, with yourself and the world around you, right? Um, the second thing that I want to say is that, you know, we're experiencing a break, right? We're experiencing a break right now. And the wound of that break is separation. What keeps us separate? It's the belief that we are alone and the onus is on us. Again, that property line of ego, this separation of things. And this is really a big issue that I want to highlight. So I did a little research on this. I read some things, and I looked at, I had a client who was reading Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert many years ago. And so I read it with them to sort of understand what the processes that they were going through. This is something I'll do if I'm working with someone over a long period of time, get into their creative groove just to really understand the working parts of it. And in Big Magic, she dispels separateness by speaking of creativity in modern thinking and in older thinking, and how there are issues about beliefs and creativity. She says the major issues are in her book, and I'm summation, this is not from a direct quote or on a certain page, that creativity is a rare and special talent, that it's all internally generated by you, that we need special permission from society or recognition of our success in order to be that creative person, and that because of that, you must be special if you are creative, and you must be monetized, and this must be valued by money, and if you're not, then you're not special, right? So it sort of capitalizes creativity and puts the onus entirely on a person and makes them feel alone in a certain way, because it's saying it's all you. And that's just a lie. It's not all you. We are the deliverers of idea. We receive ideas. Like if you look at the old ideas of muses, right, what they're speaking to of the genius, right, these things talk to us. They weren't, I'm a genius. The genius was speaking to me, right? There's this energy, this spirit, this realm of idea that talks to us. And the Big Magic is a great book because she says, like she had an idea and she gives an illustration of this. I think the book was called Jane of the Jungle. And she was going to write it, and she never did. And then she went on book tours, and then she met a friend, and then that friend and her, also book touring, talk, and then she started talking. They started sharing ideas about books, and this other person had an identical idea to which she had written, Jane of the Jungle, right? And so the idea had spoken to the one, and it was never completed or finished, and so it moved on to someone else, right? The genius is not yours. The genius is speaking to you, right? The creativity is through you, right? And the energy is generated by you, but the inspiration comes to you, right? It's inspired, it comes to you. So we live in a world with this myth of separation. This myth of separation is all around us in many ways and shapes and forms, from the property lines of our houses and yards to achievement mentality, and so now I'm here and you're beneath me, and all of those sorts of things. It's just a really, really weird mentality. A lot more in the writing on the post. When we try to claim our relationship with spirit as ours, is generated by me, we develop a spiritual ego. We sort of shackle the inspiration. We shackle the spirit, and it leaves. It doesn't remain. And we're left with an inflated sense of self that, God is talking to me, and so therefore I know the answer to thing. Well, God is talking to everybody, right? Or not at all. Whatever. I don't know. It's that special people mentality, right? This special people mentality is a version of separation and aloneness. It's a version of, we want to celebrate distinction, right? We want to celebrate difference and distinction, because that is a unique part of life, is that we're not all the same. We may be connected to the all, but we're variations on a theme, right? Sometimes very beautifully different variations on a theme. So what I want to highlight in Libra also is property rights on creativity. And I don't know what that means exactly. If this is going to be something that we see play out in the world, I don't like to do predictions on these things, but I want to say property rights on creativity, property rights on spirits. So when we're looking at the spiritual landscape, we don't have any, right? We're in a shared landscape of energy. It doesn't belong to anyone, it belongs to everyone, right? Because that's the ecology of nature. And as above, so below, the spiritual landscape mirrors this in certain degrees. What does it mean when we believe in these wounds of separation and we deny our power of connection? The wound of separation or the power of connection grows into our lives like a garden. Creativity is a connection and spiritual resource, or commodified and made into loneliness and satisfying the ego. It either contains the paths of connection or the walls affirming our separateness. Genius, creativity, connection should link us to a greater ecosphere of love and support. When we achieve great or small, the true question is, does this benefit me or us? Does this feed specialness or interconnectedness? The first will sever our connection and lead us into deeper disconnection. The second into the wild country of our nature, of genius, which is all about us, providing a greater output of the connections and that the Spirit has revealed to us. So ask yourself, how does your creativity, and I don't mean that you're a painter or you're a writer or you're whatever it is. Creativity comes in many ways, shapes, and forms. It's when we are inspired to do something and make beauty out of it, right? Let's say it that way. In what way can we make beauty out of things, right? Also a very Libra, Venus thing. How do you share that beauty? How does that beauty support you and others? How does your gifts and talents support others? How does the stories you write support others? What is it, the narrative that you're doing? Is it just about you? Is it always just about you? Is it always just about those things? When is it about recognizing those things in relationship to other things? Just sort of look at that. I'm not poking fingers at anybody, but just look at that as an interesting theme for Libra. In the days and years to come, we must learn to think of connection in the ways that benefit those who feel disconnected. For some, just think about it. Just think about it. Especially if we have a lot of privilege, if we have the capacity to share, think about how lack of privilege, lack of access, and lack of resources makes people feel disconnected in a world in which everything is commodified, right? Because that translates into spiritual disconnection as well. So for some, help might come as a sermon, as a friendship, a walk, a talk, a telephone call, a Zoom, or whatever it is. And for others, that might be showing up. It might be donating time. It might be donating money. It might be donating resources. It might be helping it move, right? We are all on the same table. And it's tipping, right? It's tipping over. It is in the process. It's not gonna, it's in the process. And we are watching others slide off from a safe space. We're watching those with less protections slide off the table first because they don't have those protections. They have less of a purchase because they have less resources. And with the least resources, you fall first. The underprivileged communities, right? Listen very closely to me when I say this. No one is safe, right? This is not a doomsday prediction. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just saying the table is tipping and we're all on the table. It all tips. The things that slide off first are the ones that have the least purchase, right? We must remember The point in this is that we must remember our sense of connection to each other and act from that sense of connection as if it has a greater value than objects, than commodity, than a value based on dollars, right? We have to walk off and tear down the line, the property line around the ego, and say, there's a path through this garden, right? Like they do in other countries. And remember that all of these parts are part of the connection. And it's not about the separateness. It's about finding those connections. It's not always going to be unity, right? It just means connection, right? It doesn't have to be the special unity of the special people all together in the special light of things, right? That's also a weird separateness. It's disguised as spirituality, but it's a weird separateness. Interconnectedness is messy. It is not always love and light, but it is an opportunity for love and light, right? Right. So Libra, 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 Libra. Seek balance, stretch, move the body, be conscious of what you eat. Find ways to connect. Work with your own personal energy and ask questions about how you connect to the outer world and how the outer world is affecting you. Do the small things for yourself that help you to focus on the joy, on the steps ahead, and remember that we're all in this together, and this is not a cliche statement. The table is tipping, right? Those with the least purchase are sliding off first. It's our opportunity to use our skills and abilities to help those, to speak up for those, to do the things for those who are sliding off first. Because the table is tipping, there is no protection. There's no amount of money, there's no place in the world in which you can run and hide to, in which you will not feel the slide. Even if you happen to hold on, you will feel it. When we're stuck in the just about me mentality, what's left if we're the only one hanging on the table, right? So think about connection, think about spiritual relationship, and ask yourself, in what way can from this place of joy, from this place of capacity, from this place of perspective, can I share this gift with others? And in what way can I ease that and help people to return to a sense of connection in themselves? And, the answer is going to be different for a lot of different people, right? Sometimes, people are in survival places. Love and light is not going to pay the rent, right? That's why they have a GoFundMe. It depends. For some people, that's not an issue, but what they really need to feel is that someone is there with them and connecting with them. And I am, right? And they are. And maybe you can, right? They need to know that someone's standing beside them because they are always standing beside someone else. It's that kind of message, right? That's Libra. That's balance. That's what I have for you. This week, I will not be doing a 7-day service. I am going to do a read for the year this week. So I'm going to look at the cycle from year to date and sort of go around from Libra and just sort of look at things. I think it was Ivo Dominguez Jr. on one of his Facebook posts and possibly Instagram or Blue Sky or something had said that the astrology for next year was really crazy. Don't quote me, that's not exactly what he said, but that it would behoove us to sort of like maybe do some readings and sort of look at the future of things. So I'm going to devote a little time this week, as I have extra time this week, to pull some cards and do a year-long reading, a sort of life path reading for the subscriber list. So if you're on Patreon, that's where you'll find that. And just sort of do a reading for the year and just sort of see what I tap into. And then maybe, if you're looking at some astrology and you have some things, that's an invitation for you to contribute to that. And maybe we can even have some Zooms on that and record them for other people to watch if you have something to share. Just an idea. So blessed be, blessed be, blessed be. This is Scott. I hope you enjoyed watching. The complete transcript of what I wrote will be on the Patreon for the free subscribers, but it is behind that wall of subscription, and there won't be a 7-day service. There'll be a year-long reading. So patreon.com/Scott K. Smith, and I'll see you around. Blessed be.
Recording stopped.